going on, guys? It's Matt here, and I wanted to give you guys some tips as far as improving your accuracy in shooting pistol. Some of you guys that do recreational shooting and may not put a huge emphasis on accuracy and stuff like that, and if you see yourself having problems with having consistent shots or staying accurate or actually hitting what you're aiming for, you may find yourself pulling shots or throwing shots off to the left or to the right or high or low. The main thing, what you always hear about, is trigger control, and also being able to break the trigger without influencing the pitch or the angle of the actual muzzle itself. And what that means is I've got a pistol here, and we have it unloaded, and also show you that we are clearing the chamber here. So what we're talking about is that when you actually go to pull the trigger, to make sure that as far as the front of the gun, when you pull it, you get that little shake that goes on with it, and that little 1/16 of an inch at 10 yards may throw you off 4 inches. Okay, so what you have to understand is what are some ways that I can be able to pull and break the trigger without influencing the muzzle and the pitch of the gun. And there's one technique that I wanted to show that helps me. It's not an answer or solution for everybody, but it's something that helps me to make a more consistent, accurate shooting. First main thing is making sure that you have a proper grip. Your strong hand, obviously, what you want to do, like everyone shows and says, is you want to get it high up and centered to the actual barrel itself as possible. So you bring your hand up as far as in you can get to it. Now the thing about it is, bring the hammer back and show you what you have just in a single hand. When you pull the trigger, this action of this compressing down to pull the trigger also causes your palm to tense as you pull the trigger. So you squeeze with this hand. When you squeeze with that hand, it causes a little slight pitch in it. And I'll show if I can get this side here. You may have it lined up, and then when you go to pull the trigger, that's pulling up on it. Let me actually, give me 1 second, let me stand behind the camera and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let me flip this around. And as we take up and look through the sights, you obviously focus on the front sight. Now my camera's going to now focus on the rear sight. Let's see if we can get it to focus on that for a second. So when you let your strong hand influence the shot and you pull the trigger, you see that the sight went over here and touched the right side. That's going to throw your shot off to the right. So the main thing is trying to figure out a way to keep your hand, your shooting hand, from influencing the shot. One of the best ways to do that is the use of your support hand. Now, a lot of people use the support hand to hold up the weapon and hold your shot, but a lot of people don't use it in the proper way. What we've all seen and what we've done is that you grip the gun and then you have this open channel here. You want to fully wrap the gun with your hands. So what you do is you take your sport hand, and then the meat right in here, you'll fill in this space in the gun. And what you do is when you place that in, your fingers come across and overlap your fingers here. Okay? Now, the biggest thing to do with that is the fact that you want this hand to be able to support and hold the gun steady. And the way to do that is to use this hand like a vice grip. What you want to do is once you get that in that channel and wrap around, you want to be able to hold this gun with just this hand only, with your other hand underneath. So when you have that wrapped over, you clamp down on your fingers, and then you should be able to hold the gun without the back being held. Okay? If I show that there, the gun is held with just being clamping from the front of it. Now what this does is it frees up this hand to pull the trigger without squeezing the grip, when you squeeze the grip, that can cause the pitch or the angle to change as you fire. So when you've got a good grip on it, you should be able to pull the trigger without the back of your firing hand on the gun itself, and be able to press the trigger without actually holding the gun itself. What that does is that keeps this hand, your firing hand, from influencing the pitch and the angle of the gun as you break the trigger. Let me step behind the camera one more time and I'll show you what I'm talking about. What you want to be able to do is consistently be able to shoot without influencing the front sight post, without having it move. So once you take the gun, let me find the sights here through the camera. Once you take it, all of that is being done by your support hand. So what you do is that every time that you pull the trigger, there should be no movement in the pitch or the angle of it. So all that through your support hand, so that way when your finger flexes to pull the trigger, there shouldn't be any movement. I've got an awkward stance behind this camera, so I'm wobbling just a little bit. If I try to get a better stance here, and I should have put a target up on the wall so that way we could show something to aim at. So that way every time we break the trigger, we try to minimize the amount of movement by using our support hand to grip and hold the weapon. It won't make you the perfect shooter, but I can guarantee that once you find and figure that out and practice that, it'll help aid, and that way you hit at least what you're aiming at every time. So that's a quick tip that I want to show you guys, and I hope that it helps you guys out. Go out and practice it, try it out, see if it works for you, and I just always stay safe.